Hey y'all, this is the help video for the Unit 2 Assignment 2. And just a reminder, this is not in Connexus. Unit 2 in Connexus has been dropped. All of Unit 2 is now in Schoology, so make sure you go to Schoology to complete this assignment. All right, so we're going to solve this first one. Well, that's not what I wanted. Hang on. Okay, I think I have a pen now. Yep. So just like always, I'm going to draw a line down the equal sign and I am going to box off my letters. And in this case, I have letters on both sides. So it is very important that I get them on the same side. Right now, this X doesn't have a number in front of it, so that is actually a 1. Why did that not change colors? There we go. So that's a 1X. I like to get rid of my smallest X. So I'm going to get rid of 1X. Since it's positive, I'm going to subtract it from each side because that is the opposite. 1X take away 1X is 0. We can cross that out. 6X's take away 1X would be 5X. And then I'm just going to plot the rest of this stuff straight down. Again, I'm going to box off my letter. And I'm going to look just on the side that has the letter. And I'm going to ask myself, what do I need to get rid of? And here I need to get rid of the positive 9. The opposite of adding 9 is subtracting 9. So I'm going to subtract 9 from each side. Negative 11 minus 9 is a negative 20. I'm still trying to get that X by itself, and I have a 5 attached to it. Right now it says 5 times X. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I'm going to divide each side by 5. And X equals negative 4. Let's check out the next one. Again, let's try to get our thoughts organized. And the way I organize myself is I draw a line down the equal sign and then I box off every single letter that I see. And when I box it off, I always keep the number and the sign in front of it. Okay, so this letter didn't have a number there, so I'm going to put a 1 there. And then notice that this 1A plus 2A, those are on the same side of the line. So when I go to combine those, I just add them together. I do not do opposite operations unless I'm doing it to both sides and I'm trying to get rid of something. Since they're on the same side, I'm just going to do 1A plus 2A and I'm going to get 3A. And then I'm going to bring everything else straight down. I'm still going to box off my letters. And now I have letters on both sides. This is when we have to do opposite operations. Anytime we do something to both sides, we have to do opposite operations. I like to get rid of my smallest one, so I'm going to get rid of my negative 5A. And the opposite of subtracting 5A is adding 5A. So I will add 5A's to both sides. Those would cancel. Bring my negative 27 straight down. 3A's plus 5A's would give me 8A's. And then I'm just going to bring that negative 3 straight down. I'm still going to box off my letter because that helps me stay organized. And I'm going to ask myself, okay, what is on the same side of the letter that I need to get rid of? And I need to get rid of that minus 3, so I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. 8A equals negative 24. Excuse me. And then to get rid of this 8, right now it's 8 times A. The opposite of multiplying is dividing, so I'm going to divide each side by 8. And I get negative 3. So A equals negative 3. If we want to solve this one, I'm going to draw my line down the equal sign and I'm going to box off my letter. Now, when it's a fraction like this, it doesn't matter if you box the top part or the whole thing. Since it's so small, I'm just going to go ahead and box that whole thing. Now, remember, you're only trying to get rid of numbers that are on the same side as X because your goal is to get X by itself. So don't come over here and start subtracting 12 from each side because we don't need to get rid of 12. We need to get rid of the numbers on the same side as X. So I'm going to subtract 2 from each side. Again, I'm always trying to ask myself, what do I need to do to get the letter by itself? So I'm still trying to get the X by itself, which means I need to get rid of the divided by 4. The opposite of dividing by 4 is to multiply by 4. So in this case, x equals 40. It wants to know the first step of this equation. So if we draw our line and we box off our letter, and we look just on the side with the letter and ask ourselves, what do we need to get rid of? We will realize we need to get rid of the 5. So the first step here would be to subtract 5 from each side. So it could, I don't know exactly how it's going to be written, but we want to use the subtraction property of equality to subtract 5 from each side. All right, we want to solve and check. So I'll draw my line down the equal sign and I find my letter. Here my letter is stuck inside these parentheses and I need to get rid of those parentheses. I like to distribute. I think I said on my last video you could start by dividing by 3 on each side, but I'm going to go ahead and distribute. So I'm going to do 3 times 2x, which is 6x, and then I'm going to do 3 times 1, which is 3. That got rid of my parentheses, so now I'm back to a normal looking equation. I look on the side that has x and I ask myself, what do I need to get rid of? I need to get rid of the plus 3, so I'm going to do the opposite, the inverse operation. I'm going to minus 3 from each side. I just did that in my calculator. Negative 15 minus 3 is negative 18. Still trying to get the x by itself. Right now we have 6 times x. Anytime they're smushed together, they're multiplying. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I will divide each side by 6. And x equals negative 3. It says justify the steps used to solve the following equation. All right, so let's look and see what they did. They started off right here. And then in that first step, they got to here. So I'm going to look and say, what's different about these two? I'm just going to go ahead and highlight everything that's the same. The 7x is the same. The plus 4 is the same. But this part is different. So I'm asking myself, what did they do from here to here? And what they did is they took this 3 and they distributed it. They did 3 times 2x, which was 6x, and 3 times 1, which was 3. So the first thing they did is they distributed, or they did the distributive property. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to be written, but something like that. All right. Then we're looking and seeing what they did next. The next thing they did is they subtracted 6 x's from each side. Well, that's the subtraction property of equality. Anytime you do something to both sides. And then we'll look down at step 3. So they subtracted 6x from each side and got to here. And then they're subtracting 4 from each side. Well, guess what? If you subtract from each side, it's the same thing. So this one would also be the subtraction property of equality. I'm not going to write all that out, but those are both the same step. All right, and then the last one. A truck can be rented from Company A for $50 per day plus 50 cents per mile. So that's represented right here, $50 per day plus 50 cents per mile. Company B charges $80 per day plus 20 cents per mile. So here it is, $80 per day plus 20 cents per mile. Find the number of miles in a day at which the rental costs of Company A and Company B are the same. We want to solve the equation and tell what x represents. Well, we kind of already know what x represents just based on how it's read. It says 50 cents per mile and 20 cents per mile. So I already know that x represents miles. And now I'm going to go ahead and solve my equation. I'm going to draw my line down the equal sign and I'm going to box off my letters. I have letters on both sides. The first thing I need to do is get them onto the same side. So I'm going to find the smallest x and get rid of it. 0.2x is smaller, so I'm going to subtract 0.2x from each side. I'm going to plop this 50 straight down. I'm going to bring this 80 straight down. Oh, wait, what did I just cross out? I'm losing it, y'all. 0.5x minus 0.2x does not cross out. I crossed it out on the wrong side. Sorry. Okay. So hopefully this makes you feel better in knowing that even teachers make mistakes. Okay, so 0.5x minus 0.2x is 0.3x. I am still going to drop that 50 straight down. Wow, I am out of room. And those cancel. I'm going to rewrite it over here because I feel like I'm smushed. 50 plus 0.3x equals 80. I just rewrote it over here. Okay, wow, that didn't change colors. What in the world? There we go. I'm still trying to get the x by itself, so I'm going to box it off and I'm going to ask myself what is on the same side that I need to get rid of. And if you look at it this way, we can see that we need to get rid of the 50. Since it's adding 50, we are going to do the opposite, which is to subtract 50 from each side. 0.3x equals 30. I'm still trying to get the x by itself. Right now I have 0.3 times x, and the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I'm going to divide each side by 0.3, and x will equal 100, I think. I'm typing it in my calculator. Y'all know if you see me in class all the time, and I always tell you I don't always trust my brain. So I'm typing that in my calculator, and x does equal 100. So that means it says find the number of miles in which the rental company A and B are the same. So if you drive 100 miles, they will both be the same price. So X stands for miles, and you have to drive 100 miles in order for them to be equal in price. All right, y'all, good luck on this assignment, which is in Schoology, not Connexus.